Yes.
Okay.
There has to be enforcement.
Well, yeah, we have plenty of laws. We just have a little problem.
There is a
enforcing
great
them, I guess.
enforcing them.
lack.
We got probably a lot more laws than we need,
That's
but
right.
they're not being
So
enforced.
my home cannot wait for the enforcement.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
Took it in our hands to do
And
it.
so, in your area where you live, how many
Yes.
people are doing what you're doing?
Well, my neighbors are, some of my neighbors are doing it already, but hopefully there will be more.
I'm just trying to figure out a way, you know, that we can get everybody doing it, because people are kind of lazy, you know, and unless they're really dedicated, you're never going to be able to get them to push on.
That's right.
And one of the guys said, "Look, hey, I'll buy all the plastic, even the clean. I'll do all the cleaning myself, you know, if you just
right.
let me do it."
Yeah.
But he's blocked by the people that are getting the money from the garbage
Yeah,
trucks, and
okay,
so he has a
yeah.
hard time doing that. And I always want to do things that work, you know, and
Okay.
it's working for you. How do we expand Vicky's house
Yeah.
to other places without, you know, for the people that don't want to cut it open and do all that drying and all the other things?
Well, I think whether we like it or not, we have to do that, because we cannot just accumulate plastics, 1 kilo of plastics in 1 week. So in my house, my collection now is 3 years. 3 years of plastics, because I'm doing it for statistics purposes.
Oh, so you haven't sent them out?
No,
or?
I have sent out the ones before 3 years ago, and then but now I am doing it. I am nearing the 3-year mark to come up with statistics, because
how much weight that the average
yes,
household
I
is
have
doing?
in my home. There are about 5 people in my house, and I have accumulated at least 50 to 60 kilos of plastics. Soft plastics.
Just soft plastic.
Just the soft plastics.
That's understandable.
Yes,
We
but
were able to-
you know, 50 kilos of rice can fit in 1 sack, but 60 kilos of plastics, that need about 30 sacks.
It looks like it would
Yes.
take up about a full room, you know,
Yes, yes.
out of your house,
Yes.
right?
But to go back to your question, how do you get other people
Right,
to do
right.
it? Yeah. Well, if you institutionalize it in small, well, what you call like cadres. You know,
Yeah, cadres or
yeah.
platoons or
Yeah, so in
whatever,
our
yeah.
case, it was our barangay.
Okay.
What we did was we hired eco boys,
Okay.
and they were the teachers. First, you indoctrinate them. So you have it on a community-wide. Those who don't want to do it, give it to the eco boy.
Okay.
The eco boy will clean it. But when he sells it, and this is from our experience, when they sold what used to be garbage, what used to be waste, they were getting 3,000 pesos per head additional income.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
per head. Aside from the salaries we were giving them, which was minimum wage. But if you were the one, you wouldn't mind earning 3,000.
No.
All they had to do was, and we gave them gloves, and they would clean them. So we gave them also what we call the materials recovery facility, which is provided for in 9003.
And you have a homeowners association, like I pay a certain amount every month for doing the things.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind paying another 50 pesos or stuff for people to come by and pick up the
And
stuff
do it,
and
yes.
do it. And maybe if it were promoted that way,
That's right.
would work out.
We had an eco garden where those who didn't want to compost in their house, we compost in the eco
So
garden.
you have a central composting
Yes,
pit
it's
as well.
just a vacant lot which was not occupied at the time. So we were using it. It used to be a dump. We pulled out everything, cleaned, sold the reusables, and then converted it into an eco garden. And we became the model. People visited us with institutions, government institutions, other barangays, governors, mayors. They visited us to see how to do it on a
That's what I was
community
going to ask.
level.
If people do come around, I
Yes.
saw the pictures of the trees. We're going to talk about that later in the
Yeah.
show. But beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah,
And,
it is. Yes.
Yeah.
And what we did was we got somebody to design our eco garden in a way that is in harmony with nature. You know, you don't put concrete stuff and force things into place. We don't. We reached a point where, for a while, when the garbage collectors wouldn't come around, you really have stinky roads. But when we practiced ecological waste management, we had to lock our garbage because they were being stolen. Yeah, seriously.
People were stealing your garbage?
Yeah, so I was saying.
I've had a lot of things stolen, but nobody's ever stolen my
I
garbage.
attended a
right?
meeting one time, and what are they
Because it is
quarreling
value.
about? And they were quarreling about who stole our garbage.
Because it has value.
Because
Oh, well,
they had
sure.
value.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And after a while, even the drivers of the residents noticed, okay, so you're collecting it. Why? Because we're selling it. So after a while, they would bring home the garbage of their employers. Going home, they'd pass the junk shop and sell. They make an extra $100.
Really? Oh, my
Yeah.
God. Well, that is turning waste into natural resources,
That's
which
right.
is into a
Yeah.
resource. And now we're talking now about plastics and about composting. And composting, I started it, and I wish I were as hard on it as I should be. But I after today I'll start it again.
It's quite a rewarding experience when you compost and then you see your plants bloom.
No, we did it on the show, just on the table
Yeah.
once, and my daughter saw it, and so we did it I bought a big bucket and things, but I wasn't able to get the right kind of sawdust or something, so it didn't work so well, It didn't work out so
You
well.
don't really need sophisticated chemistry for it.
Yes.
What you have, put it on the soil. If
Just
you
in the
have,
soil, dirt or whatever. Then.
yeah, then cover it a little, put some leaves so that it can breathe, water it once in a while, then start another hole. You don't have soil, use pots. Use if you have pineapple juice, put it there. Put soil, then put it outside.
I see. Just
Stick
with
a
soil
plant
then,
into it.
not, You don't need the sawdust or the shavings.
Not
or
at
anything
all.
like
You
that.
don't
I
have
see.
cans, you don't have plastic, use plastic bags. Then put soil, hang it on the wall if you live in very close quarters. It
You
can
know,
be
I
done.
don't know if you know it or not, but plastic has made it to where they're not giving out plastic bags anymore. They're doing it all in paper
Yes,
bags, going
yes.
back to the same kind of paper bags they used when I was a child in the United States.
Yes, and I think also in Las Piñas.
Yes.
Las Piñas, they have banned the use of single-use plastic.
That's
Right,
right.
right. They've done, and so one of the bad things though is you can't ride with your bag on the motorcycle unless you get one of the handy
That's
bags
right,
because
yeah.
all of your goods fall out on the ground,
Yeah.
which happened to me once, and so I got smarter after that.
Do you know that
But,
composting and the total recovery of plastics and recyclables are the first steps
Okay.
in imbibing the zero waste philosophy?
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and they are they are an integral part of the total ecosystem conservation approach.
Okay. There was another point on your 12 points that I thought was interesting because it affected me for some other reason, recently, is the Eden diet.
Yes, yes, the Garden of Eden diet.
The Garden of Eden diet. Would you like to explain something about the Garden of Eden diet?
Well, with the Garden of Eden diet, actually, I realized that I have to remove the eating of pork in my diet. And I eat more fruits and vegetables now, and exactly what is described in the Garden of Eden.
Oh,
That is exactly-
the fruits and vegetables that are in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
I, like everyone else, I ate lots and lots of meat through my life. Mostly, though, I lived in Japan, so I ate a lot of fish.
Yes,
but since I came here, it was all pretty oily, greasy foods.
Yeah.
And I found
Filipino
out that
food.
if I eat 3 square meals a day, eating more fruits and vegetables and fish with less meat and as much as possible, no pork, no beef, with beef maybe 3 times a year, I don't get hungry.
Well, yeah, I don't think
don't
we
get
have to be
hungry.
crazy about it. And again, I had a kind of a wake-up call, so I'm trying to close the door after the horse already got out. But yeah, I found that since I started going on fruits and vegetables,
Yes.
I have more energy.
That's right.
Because especially in the afternoon after a lunch, if you eat something heavy at lunch,
Yes.
Your body is
Yes.
so busy digesting things that you can't stay awake.
And then
But
I find no
with the
need for
fruits, you
junk
don't-
food.
Yeah,
for
no
processed-
junk food.
No
don't
junk
need-
food.
No
If
cravings.
I want a snack, I grab some grapes or something. And,
Yes,
and
yes.
go
And
with
then that would lessen our accumulation of
Now how does
packaging.
that how does that affect the environment then if we start moving away from meats,
From meats.
especially meats?
Of course, as we know that beef and pork are main sources of methane.
Methane, right?
Yes,
Okay.
because when the cows belch, the more we eat hamburgers, there will be more production of cattle, and then more raising of cattle. And the more cattle there are, the more methane increases in the atmosphere
Right,
because
right.
the cattle belch.
Okay.
Yes, and also their waste materials, they get into the lakes and the rivers and the seas, and then they poison the tributaries and the marine life. Are poisoned.
Fish though is okay, right? I mean, fish are going to be around anyway. They're under the water. I
Yes,
suppose
yes.
that they're good.
Yes,
And
yes.
you said I saw something in your literature about the fact that cell phones were killing honeybees?
Yes, there is a study
yeah.
regarding that because you know how honeybees are connected to the environment.
Oh, absolutely,
1/3 of the world's food supply rely on honeybee pollination. For example, the whole almond crop in the United States need 1,300,000 colonies of honeybees in order to come up with just all those almond crop. And then one orchard of apple needs 1 colony of honeybees. So, if the honeybees are killed, how can we come up with all those crops?
Well, I know, and they've got some real problems with honeybees in the United States. And
Yes.
frankly, Philippines doesn't have that problem with the honeybees.
Actually, we do.
And you don't have that with that disease that they have? Or?
No, it's aside from the disease, of course we have the pesticides and all, no? One of the theories is that the cell phones
The cell phone
disorient
base.
them.
Yes.
Oh, they
The
does
signals
and they don't know how to get
disorient
back to
them.
where
They
they're
Or
going.
yeah, and
Beehives.
they cannot head for the orchards where they're used to pollinate the fruits. That's why even in China they discovered that there were years they had no fruits. It was because the honeybees were disoriented. They couldn't get to the plants,
orchards.
to the orchards.
And they could not go back to their beehives.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'd heard this. You
Yes.
know, it wasn't the problem with the bees in the United States is not the cell phone. They have some sort of disease or something
Aside from that,
causes the
It's
the
called
problem
a
with-
colony collapse disorder.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
don't have that problem here in the Philippines. But since I changed my diet, I drink at least 1 tablespoon 3 times a day of pure honey,
Yeah.
of the pure honey. And that's something we can get here is pure honey. And a lot of places, if you buy it in the States, it's not pure. It's been
Process.
processed or something.
Yeah, and
done to
the
it, you
frightful
know.
part is, they might come from orchards where there were where pesticide was used.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, the honey thing was a new thing to me,
Yes.
and that moved on to the point of your saying, hey, let's be a little bit careful with stuff. You know, the things that we buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we really need them? Of course, in a society that we're in, it's kind of a society of stuff.
Consumer
It's a
society.
consumer society, but most of the manufacturers, certainly the ones that have been my clients over the years, were some of the first to really recognize to get rid of the CFCs
Yes.
from
Yes.
the Freon way
Yeah.
back in the 80s. We did that,
Yeah.
and they're trying to make more and more of their goods recyclable.
That's
In
right,
fact,
yeah.
they have a percentage. There's
Yeah.
a thing that in every computer that you buy, there's how much of this is recyclable now that they're actually keeping track of.
Even in fast foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're advocating for fast foods to refrain from serving in plastic plates and worse, the styrofoam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Styrofoam is everywhere, isn't
Yes,
it? It
and
was
it's-
really
you
cool
know, you
when it
just
first came
open
out.
it.
It was nice to have because it was light. It was light, and you get
Yeah.
around it on everything.
Yeah.
But
you-
it is
that's right,
everywhere, isn't
yeah.
it?
But there's use for plastic also. Once they're used, they can be reused. In Montalban, there's a production outfit that converts it into fuel.
Right. One of the guys was on the show that,
Yeah.
that is he says he can make biodiesel and other
That's right.
pellets
Out of plastics.
and they're non-polluting.
That's
when,
right.
when they're burned. you
Yes,
know.
and then we also this guy has to work on the dump site. He extracts the plastic from there. Okay, and the others are those that cannot be used for pellets. They just compress them and turn them into
Right. Well,
tabletops, bricks.
He makes wood out of it.
Yeah,
Special kind of
yeah,
wood, you know.
yeah.
I'll tell you, we're getting down to the last minute of the
Yes.
first half of our
Yes.
show here, and
But-
we're going to
but-
move on to the
yes.
trees in the second half.
You know what
would
is
you like
important
to say
now
as the last minute?
is to make people realize how important it is to make informed choices.
Oh yes, and it's every individual's responsibility, really, isn't it? You know, we
Yes.
can't. This is not something that can be dictated by the government. We have to take the reins, and we have to do it as parents, as a model for our kids. You know,
Yes.
I agree with that. So,
Yes.
look don't anybody go away, because we're going to be right back very soon talking about what they're trying to do with the trees in Blue Ridge. So